Hi guys, welcome to another Gamer Life Show video. In this video, we're going to talk about Halo and the Halo franchise as it gets set to premiere its next game, Halo Infinite, across Xbox Series X and Xbox One consoles. Halo Infinite is undeniably an important game for Microsoft. The problem with the notion that it is the most important game in the history of Microsoft does it an injustice. And the reason why I say it does it an injustice is because Halo at one point in time was the game that basically set off what we know as Xbox today. In doing so, Halo Combat Evolved launched the Xbox platform. At that time, it was definitely the most important game of all time because an entire division, an entire gaming platform, an entire new a visionary and entry into gaming was hitching its bets on whether or not one game could save it. And Halo was that one game. Master Chief represented that belief, that ditch effort that you could jump in and play at a high level and create something new that would take gamers to new heights. What Halo Combat Evolved did was, for the first, and this is the first time that we saw it, it allowed console gamers to experience what first-person shooting gaming could really be like on their system. No other console had a first-person shooter like it. Not since, I'd say, GoldenEye, and even GoldenEye didn't reach the heights that Halo subsequently reached with 1, 2, and 3. Ever since Bungie stopped making Halo after Halo 3 and Halo Reach, and 343 Industries took over on the Xbox One and Xbox 360 with Halo 4 and Halo 5, it's lost a bit of its shine. And some of that I would attribute to the fact that the game and the brand itself may have been exhausted. Microsoft has been leaning on Forza, Halo, and other games just a little bit too much, like Gears. And so there became some fatigue, I would say. And this is the reason why Halo 4, although a great game in its own right by 343, did not have the multiplayer in it to really take things to the next level as a signature piece of content for 343 Studios taking over for Bungie. You add to the fact that Halo 5 didn't have the best campaign but had an incredible multiplayer, and it just seems like 343 Industries can't make this perfect Halo sandwich. And what I mean by a Halo sandwich, I mean a game that encompasses incredible single-player campaign with an incredible multiplayer campaign. But all hope isn't lost, because if you deep dive into those games individually, and I mean really play those games, they had incredible moments all laid out. Even in the single player of Halo 4, it was one of the best single player campaigns and stories ever told so far in the Halo universe. Halo 3 was the conclusion of Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2. But Halo 4 launched Halo onto a new direction. And as a campaign, it gave us a way to look at Cortana and Master Chief's relationship in such a fragmented and on the verge of destruction. Someone he could count on through all the Halos now becomes his enemy. Now he no longer has that person in his ear. Master Chief is alone, and so is Cortana. Halo 4, from a story standpoint and from a campaign standpoint, set a tone that honestly is one that I'm looking forward to seeing how they conclude it. Unfortunately, Halo 5 missed the mark in continuing this storyline and giving us something very different. The ideas in Halo 5 were interesting, but they weren't fleshed out. They didn't take account Halo 4 fully, and they wanted to introduce too many new things at too much of a time without really giving us a solid campaign that we can dig our teeth into. The multiplayer, well, was unbelievable. Warzone is perhaps one of my favorite multiplayer games that I play in modes. And I'm going to stop right there talking about Halo 5 and Halo 4 because I want to make sure that you understand that 343 Industries may not be in the best place as possible. And Halo is at one of its most fragile points in history as a brand. And Halo has to come back. I think that everybody knows this. I think that 343 Industries knows this more than anybody else. They have to make the perfect Halo game. And that's where I want to take this conversation now. The perfect Halo game is a great complement of single player campaign and multiplayer. It's an impossible ask for developers to create a game and all of the circumstances around the game that existed in the past. You can't expect Halo Infinite to be exactly what Halo 1, 2, and 3 were. Instead, 343 Industries has to set the tone for what Halo Infinite is now for a new generation. The most incredible part about all of this is that for the first time in history, in Microsoft Xbox's history, there isn't just 3 games to rely on. It isn't Forza, Halo, and Gears. No. What's important about Halo Infinite right now is that it's going to introduce us to what Gears 5 has laid the groundwork to. And that is, what can Microsoft Game Studios as a whole, what can they bring? And who's the leader of the pack? Halo Infinite and Master Chief. Halo Infinite is the leader. It's the game that's going to jump out the window. That's going to say, here is what we represent as Microsoft Xbox Studios. That is the burden that Halo has. Halo no longer has just the burden to carry the Xbox brand. That was for the Xbox OG system, and that was for the Xbox 360. That was Halo's responsibility. Halo's responsibility today with Halo Infinite is to introduce one of the most incredible lineup of Xbox game studios we've ever seen. On July 23rd, Microsoft isn't going to just introduce us to Halo Infinite. They're going to introduce us to Halo Infinite and other games that these studios have. And they're the cavalry. Master Chief is the frontline general, but the cavalry is in the back. It may not be Halo Infinite that becomes the game of this generation for the Xbox Series X. It may be an entirely brand new game from one of these studios. But nonetheless, Halo Infinite has to be great in its own right, and it has to be able to lead the pack. But the Xbox brand is not only on the shoulders of Halo Infinite. It's on the shoulders of the Coalition. It's on the shoulders of Compulsion Games. It's on the shoulders of Ninja Theory. It's on the shoulders of Obsidian. It's on the shoulders of Undead Labs. It's on the shoulders of multiple studios like Double Fine. All of these studios have a game or games like The Initiative that are going to set the tone for what it means to be an Xbox Series X gamer in the next generation. What we want and what is expected is for 343 Industries to go out there with the best damn Halo they've ever made. That's the task. Because here's the thing. If Halo Infinite doesn't do well, then guess what brand gets hurt? It's going to be the Halo brand. Many people think that this is going to reflect on the Xbox brand, and you're right. There are going to be people out there that are going to try to lay this bear right on the feet of Halo and say, well, because Halo Infinite didn't do well, that means that the entire Xbox game studios won't do well. And that's just not right. The reason why it's not right isn't because of ethics. It's not right because there is Ninja Theory with Hellblade 2. There is Double Fine Studios. There is Obsidian Studios. There is The Initiative. There is Turn 10 Studios. There is Playground Games. And each one of them can set the tone with their own games. Forza Horizon has shown that a game can still be great despite everything else around it. The Horizon series has done incredibly well. So now you have 15 studios ready to step up. So my point is that yes, Halo Infinite is important, but it isn't important for the fact that everything or Xbox just rides on what Halo does. No. It's the most important game because it has to be the most important Halo game. But we're depending on entire studios. Now Master Chief has a team behind him. Now 343 Industries has other brothers in arms that are going to say, hey, if Halo can't pick up the slack, we'll pick up the slack. We'll create that game that's going to be the next Halo or the next big blockbuster on the Xbox brand. Hit that like and subscribe button. You want to get more videos from us? You want to see what this is all about in terms of what the gamer life means? Then come along for the ride. I just want to talk Halo with you guys for a little bit because I do believe in the brand. I do believe that Halo Infinite is going to be one of the best Halo games because 343 Industries is right on the cusp of making something that's grand. Halo 4 was good, so was Halo 5 in two different aspects. Let's see if they get it all right. Welcome to the Gamer Life.